So, Mr. Ryan Lewis. Except the downside being not from Macklemore.
Yeah. Sorry about that. What do you mean? That's the downside.
So, if you could describe this like 10 Pabst Blue Ribbon in
10?
dinner,
How many
how many have you
do
had?
this. Umona Ultra Microscopic Silicon Vulcanisis.
Okay.
I'm the only sober one here. If you could describe this very drunken dinner in one word.
PBR. It's a beautiful thing. It's amazing what they've done with the PBR can.
Is this the
in
one
the
word
past,
or you just
8 years?
I'm hearing a lot of
is
words.
that previously
Yeah.
All right, so if you could describe this dinner in one word, what would it be?
I don't know. Despicable.
Cheers.
Jeez. Strap in.
And now for Dinner with Racers, presented by
Continental Tire.
with your hosts, Ryan Eversley and Sean Heckman.
Placeholder radio sound. I'm a driver. I'm very angry. This is the sound of a driver on the radio during a race.
What do you think I should order?
All right, welcome to Dinner with Racers. I'm Ryan Eversley,
I'm Sean Heckman.
and this is
Dinner with Racers.
our final day of the 34-day trip across the country a couple times, covering 13,000 miles, 25 states, to bring you guys 29 episodes of your favorite podcast in motorsports based around eating dinner. We went to Indianapolis, Indiana, and met up with Ryan Lewis, not from the band Macklemore. And Ryan is a former Atlantics racing star. He's won Petit Le Mans and prototypes. Very fast kid from England that currently resides in the Indianapolis area.
We chose Ryan for a couple of different reasons. Ryan is a guy that we have known for a while, really like him. He's actually very, very funny when you get to know him. But also in a season of what we like to say, holy shit, we thought he could bring some good perspective because he's one of these guys who's got a lot of talent, very likable, but things just haven't worked the way he would have liked. And it's a story we thought was worth telling for exactly that reason. Sometimes you have the talent, you put in the effort, and you don't necessarily go on to become an IndyCar star. For every success story you hear on our show, it's sometimes good to hear one that talks about what it's like for the guy who didn't get the break that he would have asked for or wasn't able to maximize the opportunity as it came.
Now, this isn't an uncommon story in motorsports, but it doesn't necessarily make it into the interviews that you'd expect. So we brought Ryan in, talked to him about how coaching becomes a normal part of your business routine, how working ride and drives becomes a normal part of that routine, and how you try to find work from that place forward into maybe finding opportunities later on in racing.
Now, here's the thing about the Ryan episode that we need to set up. We tried something different. Whether or not it worked is a matter of perspective. But this was our first ambush podcast where he's just a buddy, and we decided we'd invite him to lunch as though we were just going to have lunch, not record a podcast.
Yeah.
So literally when he walks in, he thinks he's just meeting us for lunch as friends. And you hear the reaction. So give this guy a little bit of a break. He didn't expect to have a microphone put on him. He didn't show up ready to tell stories.
And this is the episode.
So this is real. We met up on National Gay Men's HIV and AIDS Awareness Day. Look it up on National Calendar Day. It's real. At the Alley Cat Lounge in Indianapolis.
Now, the Alley Cat Lounge is a dive bar amongst dive bars, and we found out that Ryan got married there. We went in, we had some drinks, we had a chat. I had the chicken salad sandwich.
I had the chicken sandwich.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
So thanks to Mr. Dario Franchitti for driving us all the way there.
Yeah. Yep. Now that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will.
They
'cause
will.
You're driving. Dario Franchitti, you're driving this Acura MDX.
You're right here with us on day 34.
God. Hey, thanks, Continental Tire, for paying for this.
And Acura for giving us a car. Pew, pew, pew. Continental Tire.
Ryan Lewis.
Go. Be funny. Go.
All right, we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh, here we go.
So.
Oi.
Hey. Yep.
I like how he knows that.
As soon as you
Yeah, what are you doing here? Put the headset on.
yeah.
Hang on, keep digging.
Is that how you coach?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Just keep digging. I can hear myself now.
Yeah.
So I can't swear now, right?
Oh no, you can.
Have you heard a show?
Yeah.
You probably haven't.
I heard a few of them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
heard Randy.
seen all of
Yeah, I listened to a few of them.
But yeah, you got to listen to Randy Lanier, right?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
He left out a bunch of stuff though.
Do you? Well, season 3,
Yeah.
part 2, maybe.
We could go
Yeah.
Is he all right now? He had a heart attack. Or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He apparently had like a quadruple bypass,
Jesus.
and then like 2 weeks later was back kind of working and doing his thing.
He should have done
So-
that when he was in jail, so the government paid for it, right?
Exactly. I mean, they might have anyway, because does he have any?
I don't know how it works.
Either that or he's just gonna run up the debt and be like, "I'm dead now."
What are you doing?
Because he's
Yeah.
like 85 or something. You know what I mean? He's up there.
He must have been. Where did they? Did he have a shovel in hand on the grounds at Sebring?
No, it would have been Road Atlanta.
They wrote it like
Yeah.
He's digging stuff up somewhere.
Okay, so how did you find this place?
This place?
Set the scene at the Alley Cat Broad Ripple location.
So yeah, the Alley Cat, very very famous in Indianapolis. I guess I've been coming here not super often, but
Yeah.
certainly when I was a bit younger, when I first moved here, it was always open really late. Always open very early in the morning.
This place opens at like 7 a.m., right?
Yeah, they do breakfast here and everything, so it's really popular with like people on shift work or like healthcare. A lot of nurses,
Yeah.
some degenerates that work in that industry apparently.
Yeah, I agree.
And to
Based on
shed
the-
some light, like you can't even see this place driving on the street.
yeah,
It's
no.
got the name Alley Cat because it's literally down this kind of.
I walked past it after you came in. I went all the way down the alley,
Oh.
like, where the? No, it couldn't be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got some history in it. I've had some good nights in here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually cleaned up a little bit compared to
It's good.
compared to how it used to be. I mean, generally in the back there, it would always be flooded. The bathroom over here would always be flooded.
Right.
I kind of thought that they used to flood it deliberately just to kind of
Keep
To
it a
keep
little
the-
bit.
set the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it was always a good place to come after one of the bars had thrown out, or it's getting a bit boring. I'll go to the Alley Cat, see what's happening.
There's got to be some there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come have a couple of drinks, have a punch up.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Punch
good.
up.
In fact, but now they've got like the new room in the front, which is a bit nicer, and they do
Okay.
like stand-up comedy in there and stuff. But this will never change.
So if you're listening to this, tweet us, and we'll tweet a pic out at at your request of how cool this place is. But right now it's 12:30 on a Friday.
It's Friday. Yeah, it's Friday.
There's 3 people in here. We're 4 of them,
Yeah,
and it
you
doesn't
said somewhere quiet.
it doesn't smell bad.
No, that's what I
um,
mean. It would generally be, and back in the day as well. You go 10 years ago, you could smoke in here. So
Right. Oh yeah, no, for sure. I can see that.
people would just be ripping butts in here 24/7.
The seat you're sitting on is literally duct taped
Yeah,
up as it should
I
be.
mean it's the thing. It's
It's like when you think Dive Bar America, this is it, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
This is definitely a bit more Midwestern.
Yeah.
Not like a Brooklyn dive bar. Definitely
Sure.
not quite as many. Don't want to necessarily touch the top of the toilet system. You end up with a subpoena. But it's a bit more. It's a bit more chill in here now. On the weekends though, it's pretty.
Right.
It's good fun.
So
I've had some good nights. In fact, actually, Jesus, just really, actually, not a lot of people know this. I actually got married here.
What?
Wait,
Yeah.
In this bar?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Which was like a few months ago, right?
No, well, I've been married for 2 years.
But you guys
The old-
just had a thing?
But
or-
yeah, last
Okay,
year. So we did
okay.
the ceremony, but we got married previous December. But we did do all the paperwork.
So your lady friend is actually pretty f***ing cool then, because
Puts up with me.
she puts up with you and got married here.
Well, this is where we met.
Oh,
wow.
It was the.
Are you trying to buy this place yet?
No.
You need to be.
I ain't got money for that.
Oh, come on.
I think
What,
this
you
is-
don't have $5,000?
This is too.
Like-
Nah, I think you'd be. I think this is. I'm not sure who owns this now, actually.
Yeah, it's probably part of the
They do.
furniture. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, there's
That guy.
A lot
No,
of
they do.
these.
They introduce themselves as the owner.
Really? They're the owners?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Oh, yeah.
cool.
There
Yeah.
you go. All right. I got married here.
I
Nice to
got
meet you.
married here.
Yeah.
Wow.
But-
How many people showed up?
Oh, it was only we just like kind of signed the paperwork.
Oh,
It was
okay.
w-
Did a
way-
shot.
Whoever was off.
Yeah, all
Threw
that
up,
bit.
got in a fight.
Hinch, because Hinch was a ordained minister.
Oh, no way.
So he signed the paperwork,
Yeah.
and his parents were in town.
Okay.
And they went for dinner. Wade,
Yeah.
Prince Charles, Rod Stewart, the usual. They just flew in. But Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
It saved me about 10 grand on getting another green card. So
there you go.
it's always a
Yeah.
bonus.
Hey, that's how my
yeah.
parents got together. I get it.
Just don't tell my wife.
Right. Yeah. She won't listen to this, right? She's not a big fan
No, definitely not.
of yours.
Not mine. No, definitely not. Depends.
So we should probably dive into your background, since you're probably the least famous person we've had on this year.
Jesus.
But to be fair, we've had Dario
We've done pretty
Dixon,
well.
Who?
Exactly.
Dr. Jerry Punch,
Who?
Douglas Bowles.
Doug Balls,
Oh, right, yeah.
Dougie Balls. Yeah.
Doug Balls. Who calls him that?
Siri apparently.
Yeah.
Doug Balls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here,
came
I'll
up
show
on the
you.
voicemail as, hey Sean, it's Doug Balls.
Doug Balls.
He'd appreciate that. It's good at
Actually,
taking
he
a
did.
picture on top of the pagoda. It's Doug Balls.
Yeah, we did that too. Yep. Okay, so Ryan Lewis, not of Macklemore,
No.
but you did get to cash in a little bit on that.
Yeah, I sold him my website domain.
Right, you
Yeah.
sold
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I told Sean that, and he didn't. He was like, "Oh, really?
Yeah.
What'd you make on that?"
I don't know, 15 grand?
Yeah,
It was alright.
No, that's actually
money.
not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, he tried playing hard. His business manager tried playing hardball with me.
sure.
And was like, "Oh, well, I can give you this much for it." So, I can't even remember the software
Was it like
I
peanuts
used.
the first time or something?
Oh yeah, not a lot. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Look, you get this many individual hits, like impressions, just on that name, so it's worth." Like, I gave him a ridiculous number. He's
Yeah.
like, "No." So sat on it for 3 months, and he's like, "We'll give you this."
Yeah.
And then I had to pay my tax bill, so I was like, "All right,
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
why not?" Probably could have held out for more, but he still hasn't. He hasn't got anything up there yet. No shit. Well, yeah, Wade was trying to. Wade Cunningham,
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
evil businessman, was trying to convince me to cyber squat on it
Okay.
and just put up some really offensive stuff
Oh,
on
there
it.
you go.
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So Wade Cunningham's evil.
He is.
We have to
Yeah.
talk to him.
He's
Yeah.
evil. He's an evil genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your runaround pack here? It's obviously like Hinch, Cunningham.
Don't see Hitch too much during the season. Obviously, he's pretty
Yeah,
busy.
yeah.
But yeah, most of the guys that like. So yeah, like Hinch, Wade.
Yeah.
I spend most of the time in a pseudo relationship with Dan Clark
Sure.
and
Yeah.
Steven Simpson.
Sure.
What
yeah.
is
No,
a
I've
pseudo
seen.
relationship.
Yeah.
Well, because I tend to see more of them than I see of my wife most of the time. If I'm back in town, if I'm not away doing manufacturer stuff or coaching or whatever, I'm usually going for lunch with them or playing golf or.
So kind of the story that I like about Ryan Lewis that I think would be something we haven't really done yet is the journeyman racer who finds himself, obviously you're from Royston, Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire.
Right, that's a thing.
Well, it's Hertfordshire, but I'm trying to halfway pronounce it in an American vernacular.
Okay, cool. Do you have an American accent? Do you have like your go-to?
Generally, if I'm on an airplane, I have to convert, or if I'm talking to somebody on the phone,
Yeah.
I have to convert to kind of my Americanism.
Okay, let's give
Otherwise
us
people
give
don't
us like the
understand
basic like.
Oh, the usual one's always water. Because people won't understand me. It just
Yeah,
it's so
water.
much. Yeah,
Water.
water.
Woo-
I was taking so much of my time having to going through like the conversation stream of, would you like anything to drink? Yeah, just water, please. What? And then someone would say what to me as well, and that would really irritate me because I'm like, no, it's pardon, not what. Ingrate.
Welcome to my childhood.
Yeah, so just having to go through that, I just couldn't do it.
I don't know if that made it in my dad's episode, but we talked about that because he would never relent and be water.
Yeah.
Like he's like water.
Yeah.
Water.
H2O.
Water. Just keeps it going to the point where they're like, I can't help
I
you,
don't
sir.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, generally ordering at restaurants, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's slowly starting. It's quite insidious.
Yeah.
There's certain words that changes, and it's starting to. But then I go home. If I'm home for 2 days, I'm talking like a oiky chimney sweep
Yeah, that's say
from a Dickens novel straight away.
Oh, governor.
So
Which
that's
that's
your
exactly
like
how I
go-to.
sound.
That's
Yeah.
your go-to.
That's my go-to.
Yeah,
It's
it works
easy.
here.
It's easy. It works
Finally.
in this case. Yeah, finally.
Found a guest that works
Up
for
the
you.
apples and pears.
Do your other
etc.
accent, Sean. Like do an Australian accent.
Now I'm on the spot. All right, it's like we are on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Oh, hello there.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's everything. That's everything right there.
That sounded
Dixon.
that sounded more like a call center.
We have it.
It sounded like a call center. in
We've realized
Bangladesh.
we have one accent and we just use it for everything.
Everyone
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
Indian.
My
Yeah.
name is Scott Dixon.
Yep. It works.
Yeah, it's like he's here.
Yeah. So what Royston?
Yeah.
What's the deal? Is there anything famous about it other than
No, not a lot. There's
Yeah.
a big stone. It's named after a stone,
Okay.
the Roy Stone.
Sure.
That's about it.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so are you the biggest thing to come out of there?
No, there was quite a big heroin problem in the early 90s. So that was big news for a while.
Yeah, a lot more money in heroin than Ryan Lewis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. What else in Royston? No, not a lot.
Where
really.
is that in the UK?
It's about 12 miles south of Cambridge,
Okay.
which is where I went to school,
Fancy.
which is where they taught me to speak correctly. I was fortunate enough to go to private school in England. Went to a very, very, very nice private school. Probably didn't equip myself quite as well as I should have.
Yeah, sure.
You know, kind of struggled by on a somewhat valid level of intelligence, and didn't really exert myself too much. But
One day I'll be in a dive bar in Indianapolis.
that's it,
Yeah.
exactly. I know I've made it then.
Yep.
You know, but yeah, I went to school, spent a lot of time growing up in Cambridge, and pretty nice part of the world. It was nice.
So how does the racing get going for you? Is it a family thing or?
My dad, like, you know, not like everyone, but a vast majority of people, I think, you know, my dad was very into it. He first actually got really kind of involved in motor racing through with Mark Blundell. Mark Blundell used to race in Champ Car,
Yeah.
drove for McLaren Formula One. I'm sure most people know. He lived nearby in Royston, and like through mutual friends, my dad started sponsoring him.
And what did your dad do that he was sponsoring?
He had a air conditioning building services
Oh,
company.
nice. Okay.
Yeah, company. So pretty successful business, flat out.
Yeah.
You know, did really well. So he started, you know, hanging around with Mark and helping him out with some business stuff and going to a lot of Grand Prix. So I think I remember going to our first Grand Prix when Mark was driving for Tyrrell.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a Belgian Grand Prix in
Oh, Belgium.
Early
'93.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I still remember that. And then we went to Magny-Cours that year as well, and then on and off. And then when he came out here to racing kart in '96, '97, we'd come out to. My dad would just kind of hang out with him, but that's when we started doing go-karting.
Sure.
But
was your dad a racer, or he just
No.
liked the scene?
No, he just he just liked it. He never let me or my brother go-kart racing. It nearly happened, but then he decided it was too dangerous.
Sure,
So
sure.
it didn't happen. But my brother did a bit of kart racing, then he went and did the Jim Russell School at Donington
Yep.
Nice.
and did pretty good. And then it's like the older brother's doing it, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah,
follow
Lion's
now
that.
got
you
to have
gotta
a
do
go.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started racing in a young driver series called T-Cars, which was like a silhouette saloon car series when I was 13.
It's like a spec
Like a
class
mini
kind of thing.
Legends kind
Yeah.
of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looked like a. I have to explain it, but it looked like a. It was a saloon body.
So it's like a cart with a little body over it kind of thing?
No, it was a full-size car.
Oh, okay,
Used
okay.
a Ford Sierra gearbox
Okay.
and a 1600cc Ford engine.
Oh,
So it's like 120
alright.
for
Just a
like
little
13
touring car, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for like
Yeah, yeah.
13, 14-year-old kid. It was
Wow.
it was pretty good.
That
So
would apply
he was
here.
racing. Kimber Smith
Yeah.
was racing it then. Tom Chilton, Stuart Hall, who else? Tom Boardman, who ended up racing World Touring Car. I didn't really want to do like open wheel racing. Obviously, I never had to go through so many other people. I was so lucky
Right.
that my dad was just like, no, it wasn't like crazy money, but he was just like,
Willing to
good.
keep it kind of.
Oh,
going.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was into it as much as
oh
you
my
were.
god,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I don't know. I think
That was so was he that sports dad then? That-
well, he was hard to get on with
That's it.
sometimes.
Okay.
But by no means, he was, both of my parents have been so supportive of everything I've done.
Sure.
Yeah, he was never like crazy.
Right.
We'd argue
Second's
about
not good enough.
Yeah, well, like,
no, it was
yeah.
never. No, he wouldn't beat me.
For every third place, I'm burning a stuffed animal.
He would only
Like,
just
yeah.
he would just emotionally beat
Yeah,
me.
just internal hurt.
Yeah,
Just little internal jabs. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
He was just
You and I
disappointed.
did the 24 Hours of Daytona together like 2 years ago, and your dad like hired a photographer,
yeah.
which ended up becoming a thing. But that's not the, that's not
Yeah,
the part of
yeah,
the
yeah.
story. I forgot about that until
That
just right now.
lunatic.
But basically, because your dad found out you were in the race, he's like, "Oh, I got to get coverage of this," and so he hired a guy.
Yeah, he loves
and
it.
you came up to me and you're like, "Yeah, my dad hired a photographer. So if you see a guy hanging around, that's what that's for." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Is he coming?" He's like, "No, he's not coming. He just wants the photos."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, well, that's he's still into it, obviously."
Oh no, yeah,
Yeah.
It's been a bit trickier, like since he hasn't been paying for anything, like going back, back to like American Le Mans stuff.
Yeah.
But he's still like, I'm like, well, Dad, like you can come out, but it's like I'm getting paid to be here, so you can't really be like up in
Exactly.
people's
No
grill all the
hovering.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he would do stuff like he would make a point of I remember throughout my whole childhood, he was always up at like 4:30 in the morning. He was in the merchant navy as a kid.
Okay. Yeah.
So he just wakes up at the crack of dawn, no matter what. But he sees it as like a competition, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But he would be there before anyone else would be at the track, like waiting for the awning to get zipped up, or he'd be sitting inside, like
Oh, I'm sure team owners loved him.
Yeah, exactly.
paid on time, so I don't think they care. Right?
Right. Part of the deal. Yep.
He'd end up doing Formula Palmer Audi in 2002, and for like half a season. Then did 2003. Went and had a crack at kind of the full championship, and ended up winning that.
Yeah.
And then, sort of at that point, it was like, well, are we going to try and make a bit of a go of it?
Like
'Cause it
this
seems
is
like
exactly.
we've got some fairly good momentum at
I
the
mean,
moment.
most of the kids that win the Formula Palmer Audi championship
Go on
end
to
up
things.
going very
Yeah.
far in their career.
Yeah, it was-
So
it
it's
was
like,
all-
oh, there's a thing here.
But that's an open wheel series, but it wasn't F1 wasn't really where you wanted to be.
Not when I was a bit younger. I thought, because I even then I was a bit more like, well, why do I want to go and try and get into Formula One? It's going to be like near on impossible. It's going
Right,
to cost
yeah.
this much money. I got more chance of like going to touring car,
Sports
British
car,
touring.
but yeah, sure.
BTCC then was like pretty mega.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just ended up going. Jonathan Palmer managed to convince my father that going racing in Palmer Audi. was
Yeah,
probably
imagine that. So,
yeah, I got made a BRDC Rising Star.
right. Yeah.
So you got a bit
but
more.
that's a big
acclaim.
deal.
They didn't give me any money. I got a jacket out of it. That was about it.
Sweet. You saw the jacket.
Yeah. You know what? Actually happened with that, because you can get your like rising star status like rescinded, and they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, can you give your jacket back now?
Oh,
I was like, "Fucking no way. No chance.
oh, sorry, man.
I never wore it a day in my life. But
Right,
I'm like,
right.
no,
That's
just on
every
principle.
every jacket I've ever seen given away in motorsports is like you wear it for the photo, and then it
And
goes
that's it.
right in the closet.
Yeah.
Right, you know.
Well, it's not really like it's something you can wear out.
So you do Palmer Audi, you get the BRDC thing, you get a sweet jacket,
Yep, sweet jacket.
and
that was the main deal.
and then you end up doing like British F3 International.
Got passes for the Grand Prix as well.
Okay.
BRDC membership.
Yeah, yeah, proper.
Oh yeah.
So at this
Never
point,
went.
because I mean you're short, so
Indeed, I am, sir.
so how's that working with the ladies in England? Because isn't everybody in England a race car driver at some point?
Pretty much.
It's like I did my time,
Right.
And now I'm
No, definitely. That's definitely one of the things that I did enjoy when I did eventually come out to the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, it knocks you up a couple of notches.
Well, plus
as
you have an
well.
English
Yeah,
accent.
you have an English
Yeah,
accent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you know
exactly.
how to form a sentence.
Yeah.
Like that puts you halfway.
Oh no, but of course, like the kind of like the I'm a racing driver thing that bumps you
Sure.
up a couple, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe depending on what car you're driving.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the accent is very helpful.
Probably the best one out of
Yeah, and I say this to all Americans: just go live in England. It's
Right,
not
it'll be the
tribal.
opposite way, right?
It's a completely evolutionary tribal thing. It's
Yeah.
like you don't sound like someone I know, so
Exactly.
we're not related.
Right.
So
Well,
Yeah.
that's good. Do American guys do okay over there?
Yeah.
Really?
yeah, absolutely.
I bet if you're an American guy that has like a sense of the world,
Yeah,
And you're not
I'm
like
a
an
world
American
yeah,
guy.
Not like I won't
Yeah.
get into politics, but yeah.
no, just just being a loud asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, I think certainly the I wouldn't say all of my friends or all people I know in the UK, particularly couth necessarily, but my God, American men are awful at talking to women.
So BRDC, and then you start doing British F3 International.
I did scholarship 2004.
Okay.
Did the national class, which
Right.
was in the older car. Not as big of a field, not as deep of a field,
Yeah.
but it was always Formula 3. Then was always seemed like you don't want to go in and do your first year,
Mhm.
and it was going to be a new car the following year. So it was like go and do your first year like your apprenticeship. It's way less money, and you kind of cut your teeth and then do the big push. 2005. So it was a pretty thin grid in 2004. I think I ended up winning 17 races.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was. I mean, at the most there was like 8 cars on the grid, but for most of the year it was me and 3 other guys really that
Going
were
for
fighting
it.
it out.
Yeah.
So you cross over to the US side.
You move over and you start racing Atlantics with was it
Conquest?
Yeah, Eric
2006,
Bachelar's
yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, managed to at the same time it worked out. So at the time, 2005, I was in a somewhat tumultuous personal relationship,
Okay.
and
With the lady,
yes,
not yourself.
not well,
Okay.
constantly with myself. That's a constant battle every day. But so it was funny. So I tested with a couple of Atlantic teams at the end of 05, and then Al Junior
Yep. Allenser the third.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was driving for Conquest and then had to bail out for whatever reasons. Couldn't drive for Conquest anymore.
Yeah.
So Conquest, Eric Bachelard called us up and said, "You want to come do Portland?" So I sold it to the then girlfriend, like, "Oh, this could be good," and like, you could come live out in the States as well. Madness, ridiculous.
And it wasn't going well at the time.
Oh my
So
God.
let's move to a foreign country.
Yeah.
yeah,
Live
that'll
together.
fix it.
Well, I think
Uh,
subconsciously I knew exactly what I was up to.
Yeah.
So I end up coming and doing that first in 2006 that first weekend at Portland, and obviously the car was like very, very good.
Yeah.
I walked straight into like such an awesome situation. I had Lee Dykstra engineering me.
Yeah.
Don Halliday was engineering
Oh,
Graham.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
teammates with Ray Hall at this point.
Yeah, I was teammates with Graham.
Yeah.
So obviously he was really quick. Obviously a little bit younger at that time.
Yeah.
Had a bit growing up to do. I think he was only, I don't know, 17?
Yeah, he had to be really
He
young.
was only
yeah.
17 at that time.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of pressure on him, considering for his age
Yeah.
and the amount of like
all the
attention that was on
him.
top of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was probably the most impressive thing out of him at that time.
Yeah,
How
just
well he
managing
dealt
sort
with
of
that.
Adjusted
Yeah.
to it, sure.
Yeah, pretty poised for a young kid. But walked in, ended up qualifying 4th, I think, for the first race.
Yeah,
I was
sure.
like, oh,
Okay.
this is going
All
okay.
right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love this.
And then in the race, on the first start, Graham and Simon hit each other, so I end up
Yeah. That's
coming out of
Simon's
turn 1.
Pagano.
Yeah, Simon,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Jean Girard. They end up hitting each other, and I'm like leading my first Atlantic race. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
You can do this.
And the car's really good, like
Yeah.
awesome equipment. So yeah, ended up going. I nearly ended up winning the race, and then my gearbox broke
Oh, I don't
with
know.
like two laps to go.
Yeah, you finished
Yeah.
third, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Third or second, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Hinch ended up winning.
Copy.
Dick. Hinch and then Wickens.
Yeah, Robert
Okay.
Wickens.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like you weren't ever really like on that, because so many people that go through like the British F3 scene are like, I'm going to be an F1 driver
Yeah.
one day, and like kind of the vibe I'm getting is that you were never like,
Dude,
I need that
You
F1
seem to have
ride.
always
That's-
understood the reality.
Yeah, you're
of
kind of
it.
like, okay, well, we'll see.
Well, yeah, without being too derogatory to myself, pretty much somewhat of a case of not too much focus, bit of affluenza involved,
Okay.
Okay.
too cynical.
You're a little
Formula
bit
One.
cynical. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
kinda
just
why I
too,
like it.
yeah, too many ridiculous other things going on in my life at being, 21, 22 years old.
Right.
Just being a retard, basically.
Well, but see,
without
that,
wanting
me-
to be too offensive to the word
George Jr.
necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
But see, that's actually the part of the story that I think is interesting, especially to the podcast,
Yeah.
which is we haven't really had anyone get into being an idiot at 22, especially like you say, affluenza. If you have the means to be distracted, you were likely very distracted.
Yep.
And so, talk about that. Go. No, but
Well,
but I mean, it's with the success of your dad, you had a lot of things going on that you. I mean, give me some examples of how you were maybe not in the gym every day.
Actually, you were known for being a pretty good athlete.
Well, yeah, went up and down.
Okay. Sure.
It depends.
As it does.
It certainly 2005 was probably it was a pretty low point in my life.
Okay. Is this the
all
chick? Is this
yeah.
the-
Well,
yeah.
I
but
wouldn't
see,
say-
that's
but it's my own.
that's
But it's all my own choices, and
Sure.
it's completely self-inflicted.
Right.
But that's a good example, though, in the sense that, like, at that age, a lot of guys who are on their way to F1, girls just aren't a thing that they're really, really allowing themselves to get distracted by, and you sort of look at that as a mistake, it sounds like.
Oh, it's a mistake because of the choices I made.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
There's plenty of other people that are actually better.
Right,
But,
right.
and at the same time, there's plenty of people. This is the kind of the tricky thing about motorsport. It's like the kind of the dirty secret that people don't want to talk about. The reality is that for the vast majority of people, especially now, even more so now than it used to be, you have to have money
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
involved. It's so rare now that you find anyone that gets any help and that comes from, because even now to even get started in karting
Yeah.
or even even dirt racing
Right.
at the bottom end, at the very grassroots of it, unless you got the right equipment, you're going nowhere. So there's varying degrees, and it depends on what you do with the resources you're given.
Right.
You know?
Right. But if there was if you could if we had a time machine in our Acura MDX, and you could go back to sort of yell at the 20-year-old version of yourself, like what would be a couple examples of things?
Jesus Christ. What would be a couple of the examples? Yeah, don't...
Cocaine. Stay away from it.
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. Yeah, it's just... when anyone at that age, and I think anyone, you have so little foresight of what's happening without
Right.
going into hindsight's 20/20. And if I'd done this differently,
Right.
I
Right.
would
No.
have
No.
been in
But
this
that's my
position.
point. It's like
It's not. It's about the opportunities that you're given. So, prime example actually would be 2006, driving for that Conquest car. The
Yeah.
equipment there, you know, you got Lee Dykstra and Don Halliday. Lee Dykstra doing the vast majority of all like the background engineering, setting everything
Right.
up. Don Halliday doing a bit more of the kind of the, you know, on the lane
Yeah.
sort of stuff. But, you know, there's absolutely no reason why me and Graham shouldn't have wiped the floor with everyone that year.
right.
But because occasionally I'd have a pretty good weekend, but I was, more interested in, going on the piss.
Right.
Well,
Right.
but that's my point.
Yeah.
So it's like
Which is
practices.
which when I think about it now, so now I feel so lucky whenever I get the opportunity to get in any race car, no matter what it is.
Right.
You know, be it extremely lucky. This year I got to drive at Detroit, which was
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yep.
And where else? Mosport.
Yeah.
I'm driving. Even though it's just in the LMPC car, I'm still driving like a really fast race car
Yeah.
in a professional series.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of feeling I have now. I'm like, don't throw away any opportunity that you think that you may have, and never take any of it for granted. And that
Yeah.
was basically the biggest issue of just
Right.
me being a dick and taking everything for granted.
Exactly. So like,
Right.
so it's 2006. World's ahead of you. You're clearly the best driver out there in your own mind, as is Graham. And
I don't need to practice.
And well, that's
I don't
that's
know
my
about
point.
that.
So it's like, so you're in Long Beach. There's girls everywhere. There's a whole row of bars. Is that the kind of thing? It was like, Halliday's like, why don't we spend a couple hours looking into this? And you're like, but I just met this chick Sally.
No, it was never anything like that bad. Like, not when I was there on the race weekend. I was there. When I'm at the track, I'm there at work. I'm not gonna f off.
Yeah.
On the race weekend. Probably I went out a little bit too much on the race weekend, but I was just an idiot. I was so emotionally broken from
Yeah.
like.
So,
And
like,
again,
you're-
I'm trying to be like all hires me. I'm just an idiot.
That you're like I'm assuming what you're saying is like you were like a text message away from your chick from being like the weekend's fucked.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what in
Yeah.
the previous
Okay,
year.
right.
It was always like
Yeah.
2005. Oh,
I get it.
I don't want to go.
Yeah. No,
it's just
we've all been. So it's a late night of.
crazy! Like her getting arrested for like.
Oh God.
Yeah, being in my
okay.
parents' house. Crazy things.
Oh,
Like nut.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
absolutwant absurd. You wouldn't
But-
even believe half the
But
stuff. that
if you
went
want, regret's probably the wrong word. But if you could look back, maybe you should have cut that off earlier. Kind of
Oh,
attitude.
killer.
Well, we found
No,
a new
yeah.
bit.
Finally got a murderer.
Oh, yeah, I hope
For
she's-
this-
yeah,
Did
no.
you know Ryan Lewis murdered his ex-girlfriend? Tweet that, everybody.
No, but-
please don't.
You
Right,
know,
but
and-
it in the moment, that toxic. Well, I don't know if text messages were a thing then, but I mean, to put it in modern day context, that toxic text exchange of she didn't understand what I said, and now I've got to stay up till 3 a.m. clarifying everything.
Oh, yeah,
and,
crazy,
no,
crazy,
you hang up.
crazy.
No, you hang
And at the
up.
time, you think to yourself, because I have similar stories.
Yeah.
You're like, this
Oh, I'm
is
sure
this
a
is
lot
a
of
big
people
deal.
do.
This is
Yeah.
a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
I have
and
to
then-
deal with this now.
Well, it's like
otherwise-
I've got to get my head clear, just get her and I settled, and then the weekend is good.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like, how many fucking nights did I do?
Yeah, this is actually really good advice for like younger drivers.
Well,
so
this
that
is
you
where
can
I was trying to
focus.
go with that.
Exactly.
Is exactly that.
So,
like that.
the previous year in 2005, I did not speak to, this person had managed to wedge herself between me and my family so much that I didn't talk to my family.
Oh,
right.
jeez.
Like, I didn't,
Yeah.
like, my father would be there on the race weekend, but, like,
Right.
couldn't, like, we didn't speak to each other.
Yeah.
How absurd is that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's absolutely, and
Yeah.
at that time, I thought, like, this is the only way to, like,
Yeah, this is my
This
life.
is your key to happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, but I mean,
moron.
Yeah.
But like, I can only relate to sort of my Los Angeles life, but your network is everything, and so like at that age for me was, like let's say 2004, 2005,
Right.
when I was in my mid-20s. If you're trying to make it in comedy, that's your key time when when all your other buddies are also unemployed or they're working
Yep.
regular jobs, but nobody's married, nobody has kids, so they have time to go out on Friday, Saturday, do comedy clubs or make that short film you wanted to make or whatever
okay.
it is. If you spend your whole time trying to keep your girlfriend happy,
Yeah, yeah.
all of a sudden you wake up a year later, you break up, and you realize you don't talk to these guys anymore, and that 2 years
Because
of
you were
ideal window to
taken
make
off
that
of
short
this.
film is
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
You know, and I assume it's the same thing in racing in the sense that your network maybe isn't as strong because you weren't going to those events you should have gone to. You're too busy trying to fix this fight you just
or
had.
like the other thing is like because I know a kid that's kind of like this.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't really talk to him anymore
Oh.
because he's
Because he's
and
too
here's the
busy
reason because
fixing
every
his
time you
girlfriend.
talk to him, it's like my girlfriend. She just
Yeah.
and you're like, dude, I don't have time for this.
Right.
Like we're supposed to be talking about the race or
Right,
whatever it
exactly.
is, or like just focusing on your
Yeah.
career.
And in the moment, you don't know that's what's going
Yeah,
on.
no, because you're like, but she's really mad.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what matters, but it doesn't.
So back to you.
Yeah. So Sean, tell me more. About
Well, I did actually have that light bulb moment at
Yeah.
Portland.
Okay.
After I had I was really excited.
Good
I'm gonna
big
call
result.
up, oh, this
Yeah.
is awesome, man!
Yeah.
I nearly won the race. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So we've got another race. It was got another race tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Didn't care. Was just straight away was like on the limiter, having a dig. And at the time, I still had like a flip phone.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm just like
StarTAC. Oh shit.
snap
did
the thing
it.
in half. That was it.
Really?
Okay.
Done.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Okay.
Well, that's a wake-up moment. Good
Okay.
for
So
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
try that one on for size.
Yeah.
It didn't stop there though, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That made my life a bit easier for a while.
Yeah.
Gave you a couple days of break.
But then
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
showed up at your hotel.
Just try snapping your iPhone in half. It would work.
So anger management. Talk about that.
Oh God.
No.
Oh,
How did you know?
please talk about that.
Shoot from the hip.
20 minutes later.
So we ordered shots for the first time on Dinner with Racers, basically to bribe the girls that turned the jukebox on, the mother-daughter,
Yeah.
and then they left.
I'm going with their not mother-daughter. They look nothing alike.
Well, that doesn't always matter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
don't
they had
know.
all their clothes on.
Stepmother or
How
something?
would you know? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Matching birthmarks. Or
So
something.
now
I
we
don't
have
know
a
how it
shot
works.
and a half for you and a shot for me.
I'm not touching that.
Why not?
I'm not touching the half of what is it?
It's this, you ordered it. You ordered shots.
No,
for
that
them.
one. That's my one.
Yeah, but you ordered all of these.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Is that really?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
We've
anybody's
had
ever-
people drinking and
Yeah,
all
we
kinds
had
of
Dorsey
stuff.
on last night.
Oh,
But
I
one
know
for the
why.
fucking shot.
Because traditionally you've been talking to professionals. Let me go professional
Right,
people.
right.
That's why. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like Dario was like, "Let's do this."
Yeah.
You know, we had to settle him down.
He brought out the 8-ball. It was a thing.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
problem.
Dario's
Yeah.
on vacation now. He's.
Fair.
I think he's entitled to that. He's risked his life for
Yeah.
long enough.
So, you raced F3 and all that shit. You end up going to Atlantics, wrecked a bunch of stuff. You and Dan Clark.
Who told you that? I did.
Derek
I did.
Walker.
wreck a
The
bunch in
rumor was
2006.
Derek Walker.
Oh, did he really?
The rumor is that somebody gave you a model car at the end of the.
Oh yeah. No. So yeah. Who
on.
told you that one?
I can't-
That's
come on,
a
man.
really esoteric
Come on, man.
Ryan Lewis story. Wow.
Listen, by the way, I only threw you under the bus to Dixon once.
About what?
The ginger,
The ginger
slash
comment.
wealthier thing.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah. Come on, I got to keep my sources.
I didn't give you any dirt on Dixon.
Right, of course not.
There's no dirt on him.
So,
Yeah, what were you saying?
somebody gave you a model?
No, my dad thought it'd be
Who's your dad?
my. Oh no, yeah, my dad was the first person that would like to give me the old dig in the ribs personally about anything. Absolutely, it's good. He's trying to. It was all for my own benefit and for his own humour, I'm
Right.
sure. But my dad wanted to. He at the end of 2006, him and my mum put on like a dinner downtown Indy for like all the team. So all the mechanics, engineers, everyone.
your team?
Eric,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
You
well,
just
both-
finished a year with Derek Walker.
no, this was
No, Bachelor.
2006.
Derek Bachelor.
Yeah.
Okay.
With Eric, yeah. And he got a load of these like handmade models made of the Atlantic car.
Yeah.
But he had to fly over with a bunch of them. A couple of them didn't survive particularly well on the flight over. So the one of the ones that had like the wheels hanging off of it and no rear wing and all stuff, that's the one he gave to Eric Bachelor.
Naturally.
Which is actually now still in. I don't know, it's the same one. Maybe he gave him two, but there's one of the models of my car is in Conquest Racing's shop now, still in Indy. When I think about it now, I'm sure anyone that's like driven a racing car at some point, and especially maybe if before the times when you would know what your lap time was if you didn't have a dash that was saying like what your lap time was, like you go out there and pound around a couple of laps and there's nothing on the radio, and you think, yeah, that feels pretty good. I don't think anyone, and if you're on your own or if you're passing a few people, you're like, oh, that feels pretty quick. Especially at the beginning of the weekend, it's like, I don't think anyone's going to be that much quicker than that.
Right.
So I remember that in 2006, specifically at Cleveland, like that track was like crazy fast.
Yeah.
And I didn't know at that point, like the first session, it was a bit of a trick to like the crown in the road. You had to be on the right side of the crown.
because
of
it's
the
a
road.
runway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Sure. Why would you?
So I'm like hanging on pretty fast, like really
Yeah.
fast
Hero.
corners.
Hero.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no one's gonna be quicker than that. I'm like hanging on, right? So come through the start finish line like 8 or 9 laps in or whatever, right? And here's okay, Ryan. P1 is whatever. This many minutes. You are P19. I'm like, oh. Jesus Christ. Well, you think like you're pretty content to yourself, like, oh, that was pretty good, and then you're like,
Yeah, no one's gonna do that.
Nowheresville. Wow, you really got to go and suck it up now.
Yeah, right.
That's never a good feeling.
No,
You're
no,
like,
it's not.
Oh, Jesus. It was not that bad, but sometime Atlantic at that time was really close.
Yeah.
There was some really, obviously some
Well,
really,
the new
really
car and this whole influx of new talent.
yeah,
and the whole
there was
thing.
some really quick guys in it.
Yeah.
There was some really, and it because it was a new car as well.
Yeah.
I think it kind of narrowed things down. No one had like a really clear advantage.
Right.
I think definitely Sierra, and Conquest. I think we were
They
pretty
won.
switched on with what the car was doing and how to make the car work. A lot of it was based around the floor. But yeah, some weekends, man, if you were 2.5 tenths off, you were like P22.
Right.
You were nowhere.
It's insane.
Yeah. So yeah, that's always the things that are just ringing in my ears. Like you are P nowhere. Here we go.
Cool,
Yeah.
because I almost crashed.
Yeah.
Again.
Right.
Yeah. So, what's the deal with you and Dan Clark at Cleveland?
Me? No, I wasn't invited. He was in Champ Car. He was in the big cars then.
Okay.
He was unfortunately he was on the cards to and that was a big ask for him actually. Dan, when he went up to, he'd never driven anything like that ever before in 2006, so that was a big
So
step up.
he
for
went
him.
straight from F3
Formula 3 straight to Champ
to Champ car.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's
okay.
that's
Tracks he doesn't know in this
yeah,
beast of a
serious step up.
car.
And yeah, one of the ones that that we very occasionally wind him up about was he was in second at Cleveland, and on the restart he just lit the rears up out of the hairpin and spun, and then trying to get going again just out of anxiousness, like just kept spinning. But considering what Dan did that year with so little experience in the car and so little testing.
Yeah.
It's like anyone, right?
Yeah.
Some people have their weekends, some people they don't. But he was.
No, it's easy. Like, we all have that friend in our circle that's the easy guy to rile up. So of course you do.
Yeah, that's your
Is
job.
that your guy?
I think it's definitely more. No, because it's definitely much more like an expat, like anyone that was like part of the empire or like Australia. But no, it's different because people.
We used to own you people.
But no, it's.
You hear that
anyone-
power?
But in America,
You used to be
people-
our prisoners.
We sent your family away.
Go on.
Well, Australia, yes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But I mean, anyone that.
Hey,
used-
Will, what'd your family
anyone-
do?
But that similar sort of sense of humour, people in America don't really deal with that. People take it far too personally.
Oh yeah.
Like with like the kind of, I wouldn't say gentle ribbing, but it's like a constant part of.
Taking
Well, the thing
piss
is
out of
that
somebody.
the English like to say the things they do with such a straight face
Yeah.
and tone
Yeah.
that you're like,
Well, it's different in America.
and then when it's your dad, you're like,
Yeah,
that's a
this-
personal thing.
Well, this is the issue, the kind of like making fun over here. People always like preface it with like no offense.
Oh yeah.
Or
yeah,
like,
we
oh,
do
I'm
that.
just kidding, man.
Yeah, we do
Not
that.
for
kidding,
nothing.
man.
You suck. Not
Yeah.
for nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
but
wait, what?
Your mum's a pirate hooker. Just kidding, bro. Just kidding,
Yeah.
bro.
Well,
Hey, don't worry about it, bro.
You do know we all have blogs, right?
I don't have a blog.
I'm about to write an open letter to the
Like-
English race driver across the table from me.
About what?
To the guy that hurt my feelings on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everyone's
Everybody
own
has a blog
emotional
that they write an
health
open
is
letter to.
Sank. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they took more shots and started talking about random stuff that you wouldn't want to hear about. But then they moved on to conversations about driver rankings. Let's listen in.
Well,
But so not to get serious, but on the driver rankings thing.
Oh, here we go again.
Let's because I'm the one who's always harping on driver rankings.
Well, it's affecting your career every day.
It's affecting my career.
How much money do you lose annually on driver rankings?
So Ryan Lewis.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh.
That Ryan Lewis. So if you don't mind calling names, so like you're in a career position right now where the phone calls aren't coming for this all pro lineup car, right?
Nope.
So you say Don. So Don Yount, if we don't mind calling him out, he's a perfect example of like this guy is your ticket to racing at this point.
Absolutely.
You know, he's going to hire you and say you're
And
my
he knows
co-driver.
it. Like, we're not calling him out.
No.
He knows. He
No,
knows
yeah.
his
Yes,
place.
that's
and
absolutely.
or I don't want to use Don's name by name if he doesn't appreciate it. But
my relationship with Don is the only reason that I at the moment have been racing in IMSA in the past couple of years.
So here's my questions about Don then, because your career, your future in IMSA or World Challenge or wherever the hell you want to go as a pro driver is literally completely on whatever interests Don at the moment. And if tomorrow he decides he's going to go sailing, you're f***ed, or you're going to go sailing.
No, yeah, absolutely. That's fair enough. But I'm still gonna give him the best advice that I think that's best for best.
That's not my
him.
question. So my question is him. So Don is a character.
Yeah.
And we're sort of using him more as a representative character than Don specifically.
Yeah.
So Don wants to run a full season of IMSA next year.
Yeah.
In theory. These are all hypotheticals. So his options are he can run DPI, he can run GTLM, or he can run GTD.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
not going to be GTLM.
Is his first question about the talent pool, or is his first question about the cost?
Cost and time.
Time away from home?
Time away from home. So time away from his kids.
Sure.
Right.
And time away from his business.
Sure, yeah. Just time not spent racing.
Right.
I think this is, if you actually look at the way that motorsport's broken up now, from my position of coming from like I do more coaching for other people in like vintage racing, stuff like that. They tend to be a bit more retired, but the way that like the racing weekend is broken up now,
it's a 1 week.
Yeah, it's like you have to take so much time away, and the people that can afford to actually do that can't afford that much time away.
Right.
If they're self-made or running a family business.
So if IMSA was a 20-race season, he'd be out no matter what, because that's way too much time. But if it was a 5-race season, he might be like, oh, okay, I can handle that many weeks away.
If it was longer distances, but again, the problem, if it was longer distances, less weekends.
Yeah.
For sure. If that's the way that the business model has to go for like endurance racing, where it's less time away, cumulative.
Right.
Then you've got more chance, because you got, I think you already see it. They try and schedule things like away from like school holidays and stuff. You can see where the business basis is.
Right.
Now I think the sport's pretty healthy, especially in like the GT3 kind of section where there's a lot of manufacturing. There's people that.
I think we're setting up. I mean, the number of cars in GT3 is very healthy. I think the business direction is
better than it has been.
Better than it has been. We're setting up for a disaster.
I think of things when it was the grim old days. When it was really, really bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Things are as good as it has been.
Right, but is the quality of the field been something that's turned him away? I guess is my question. This is
basically what you're saying is it because it's a fair fight with a driver ranking, or is it because it costs an arm and a leg and a change of your lifestyle, which is away from business and family?
Right, exactly.
I don't think when gentleman drivers are racing against, like an all-pro lineup, or what they consider to be like an all-pro lineup, they don't think like, well, depending on who it is, it depends on the character, but they don't think they're gauging themselves against that. So it's not necessarily beating. They could beat them if things were, the way it is. They could beat them. It's like we can be close enough.
So and I'm serious. Like, you don't have to answer the way we want you to answer. Has Don ever said, no, those guys are too good, I don't want to be out there?
No, never.
Okay.
I'm the one that's like, dude, you need to
I
think you need to be
right. But he has said that's way too expensive, or I can't do that much time away from work.
Well, I think there's expenses. Expense is the main thing, and then he did a full he's done a full season this year,
right?
So he's spent a lot of time away. So he's got the amount of things that he's got going on that he's like so overstretched,
right?
With the amount of things that he's doing,
right?
So
Well, some of these weeks are, you have to be there on Tuesday.
yeah, it's crazy.
Because Wednesday is a driver's
It's a
meeting or a
promoter
track
test
walk
day
or a
or
test
whatever.
day. and
you
Thursday's
got to organize a
pub.
test, and it's like, well, you have to do that. You have to do
Exactly.
the test.
I have
day.
clients that lose their shit about track walks being the day before.
Yeah.
Gentleman driver clients
Yeah.
because of exactly that reason. It's
Yeah.
like, why do I have to get there
Right.
for a 3 o'clock track walk? That's a
Yeah.
day of work gone.
Exactly.
Okay, so you drove for Derek Walker.
Sure
to
did.
the Team Australia, or whatever the it was called.
Yeah, I got banned from the workshop.
In 07.
Wait, whoa.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
okay, we'll go
good.
there.
Let's go. Okay, I was about to tell you a story, but you need to tell us a story.
Yeah, I got banned from the workshop.
And
So I was too distracting.
what were you doing?
Well, I'd go to Pit Fit in the morning, and then I would swing by.
Pit Fit being like the Jim Leo
Yeah,
run,
Jim
the
Leo.
fitness
Yeah,
center. Yeah,
James
yeah.
Leo,
Yeah.
Oh, James Leo.
young
It's not
James
Jim?
Leo. Yeah. If you train at Pit Fit, you can call him James.
Oh, okay.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do
We
we have to
can't.
call him like Dr. Leo or
Jim,
something? 'cause we don't?
Jim's been offering me some very good advice on my blown out ankle recently. So
Ah, very
cool.
good.
shout out Pit Fit.
All right. What?
Shout out Dr. Jim Leo.
Shout out Pit Fit.
All right. What just happened?
Where's the little horn? Where's the horn?
I gotta go through like my passcode and the whole thing.
There we go.
All right. Boom. All right. So Walker Shop.
Yeah, so I used to up until the point I'd go to Pit Fit and I'd like cruise by the shop in the morning because I didn't have anything to do. I was like professional racing driver.
Of course.
Nothing else to do. Yeah, lunch, emails,
Yeah.
etc.
Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Facebook weren't around then. This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. MySpace?
MySpace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
about my. Dude,
Gotta
I
change
think
my
I could
song
still.
today.
If you, I think, give me 5 minutes, I could still figure out the JavaScript to like embed a YouTube video on somebody's MySpace page.
Give it up for
JavaScript.
But I had a fob. Python.
pics. Sorry.
But I had a fob for like the workshop to
Yeah.
like come through reception. And, like
Oh God.
trying to scan in, fob doesn't work. Fob doesn't work.
Oh, no
fob
way.
doesn't work.
Wow.
They didn't tell you.
And like my fob because apparently I'd been too distracting.
But what does that mean?
I don't know.
You haven't given the reason.
Because I would show up after I went to the gym and like go and talk to all the boys. Like I thought, just go and
you're
talk
supposed
to all
to
the
do.
guys. Like
Yeah.
nah.
So it wasn't like you were coming in like
Edwards.
telling
It
them what
wasn't
else
Derek,
to do.
it was Rob Edwards. Canned it.
Oh.
Rob Edwards didn't like me. I swore too much on the radio.
Fair enough. So it's just you
No,
were hanging around.
He's a man of high morals, apparently.
Oh.
Rob Edwards.
So
So you're just hanging around too
that
much,
means-
being a goof off, not so much that you
I
were
wasn't
like.
I was just hanging out in the. I don't know. I don't know why they banned me. Whatever.
do you realize that somebody had to like go, okay, what was his key fob
They had to
number?
program
Let's
your
go put that
thing
into
in.
the thing. Let's
No.
delete that. Yeah.
Exactly.
They took the time
Yeah,
to
yeah.
not have you come to the shop.
Yeah.
And at the time, your dad's funding that deal? Yeah.
Yeah.
How much is he paying to let you go try to be? Yeah, a stupid
God,
amount of money.
yeah.
Like, you can't come
Enough.
in here. Enough you get a fob that works.
Are you aware? Did your dad give him any parting gifts by chance?
I have no idea. Did he?
Oh yes. Oh yes, he did.
What's that?
Your dad. So your dad loves making. We're telling the story, right?
Another
yeah,
another up model.
So your dad likes to give apparently Atlantic models to former teams. So he did for Mr. Walker as well, as sort of a parting gift with a
Yeah.
note. Ryan, do you remember what that note
I
said?
don't remember exactly, but
Yeah.
I remember the context.
Yeah, the context, and this is paraphrasing, Mr. Lewis. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There we go.
But it was something like, "Thanks for proving you're the biggest criminal of them all," or
Oh
something
my
to that
God.
effect. Yeah, yeah.
Fucking kidding
Your
me.
dad did that to poor 90-year-old Derek Walker.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. What's funny is, so Derek is telling us a story. He's
You're
keeping the
fucking
person.
kidding
anonymous.
me.
No, 100%
No,
real.
it's in the episode.
Yeah. He shows, like, he's talking about it over the air, I think, about the story. I don't know if that's made it in
That
the cut.
came up in his thing.
Well, he
yeah,
didn't say Lewis, but
He didn't show us the name, but he showed us the model. and
yeah,
we
so
were like,
we're done with the
"Ugh."
recording. It's like, this is the model of that guy, because he was telling us about how awful customers were. And and he shows us the model, and he shows us the card, and it's like, Mr. Lewis. We're like, oh, we
Right.
may know this guy.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you
that's
serious?
real. 100% real.
Yeah.
I had no idea that happened.
What's your dad's name?
Martin?
Give it up for Martin Lewis!
You're not putting. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And funny enough, Derek is with now.
we got Derek
that's
in the
fine.
car eating a sandwich.
You know, it's been funny. I've wondered why he's always been a bit cold to me ever since.
Yeah.
ever since
Well, at least he remembers you.
2007.
That's more than
Yeah,
we
no,
can
he knows
say.
your name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. You didn't
Well,
know ours.
ever
so you had no
after,
idea.
Before or after?
I had no idea about
Yeah,
that.
he keeps
That
it-
definitely sounds like something my father would do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he
we
kept
saw
that.
It.
He kept that on his desk.
I mean,
Yeah, he was like
there's-
proud of it. It
Yeah.
was like the first thing in his little shelf.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
it's like a picture of him in Penske at like Detroit, and then
And then
a Ryan Lewis.
yeah,
Atlantic
and then
model.
Martin Lewis shitting on him
you know,
with a model.
Jesus Christ, you gonna keep that in? Oh
We
my
don't have
God.
to. I mean, we're going to. Yeah.
That's awful.
We'll see where the edit takes Sean.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well,
I mean, like,
I'll go where the edit takes me.
So you get to do LMPC. That's kind of where you're at still. You know, you and I, like
Yep.
you did Daytona with me like 2 years ago.
2 years ago now.
You did Detroit this year, and
Yeah.
and Mosport.
Yeah, motorsport.
Yeah. So you're still picking up rides, but that's not necessarily your entire income. You're doing ride and drive stuff.
Yeah.
So you and I have met up on a couple of Acura deals because the company you work for does a lot of Acura's ride and drive
Yeah,
stuff.
I work
have
for a
I have
bunch of different companies.
amazing photo of you that we're probably going to use as your picture on our website of you with the do-rag balaclava
Oh, yeah.
from 2 years ago at Thermal
Oh,
or a year
wow.
ago. Yeah, it's pretty spot on. I don't apologize. You had it coming.
Whatever.
A lot of our followers don't understand that side of the world, like of the car world. They don't know what a ride and drive is. In fact, when fans come up and talk about it, and you kind of go, "Well, I was doing this ride and drive," they literally are like, "You were racing? Like,
Right.
what
Well,
does that
and
mean?"
just put this perspective. You're how old?
33.
You're okay. So
Yeah.
you're 33.
Great
You're
age.
you're getting pickup rides.
Fantastic.
You're picking up rides where you can. The hope is still there, but a lot of the ride and drive stuff.
The
The hope is still there.
Don't give
Oh,
up, man.
Jesus.
Don't give up.
It's like Giselle's just round the corner as well, right?
but,
She's going to leave Tom Brady anytime soon.
You're happily married. I'll remind you.
No. She'll be a sister wife. I'm going to move to Utah. It's all
But,
good. I've got it all planned out. You
Right.
so you think you laugh, but I've got it all planned out.
Okay, give
How
us
you
the
gonna
plan.
get
Give us
Giselle?
the Ryan Lewis plan to success.
I'm just gonna abduct her. That's
just
pretty
gonna-
You know
straightforward.
what? You know what would happen though if it was even a completely hypothetical universe like that. It'd be like, oh no, I'd totally have a second wife if it was Giselle
Sure.
or Claudia. She'd just run off with your wife because she'd be
Based
like,
on
"Fuck
Two of them would
experience.
get together.
yeah, she'd be like,
This
why am
guy's
I
awful.
dating this douchebag? You're awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, how much money are you worth?
The two of
Oh,
us are
great.
great. Yeah,
That's great.
let's get
Oh,
rid of
you're
this
not
guy.
like you don't watch like sport and you want to go to like a farmer's market?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Organic, my favorite.
Yeah.
Get
Why am
outta
I going to
here.
deal with you?
So,
So ride and drives, which we'll have you describe since you two are more qualified than me. But this is a lot of kind of what your career.
have you ever worked one?
I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that. Seems
I did
like
work
something you
one.
probably would've had
I
to
did
do.
one with Sean Jones, who I don't know his name in the scene anymore.
Oh, 7R.
Ooh.
But anyway, but this is a lot of what your mainstay income is now.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
tell me, so you work for, so usually these times the drivers are a freelance contractor.
Yep.
So you're an IC, and usually you're with one or two companies
Yeah.
that then proceed to contract with different manufacturers.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
today your Land Rover, tomorrow your Cadillac,
Yep. Right.
and so on. So tell me talk about that.
Yeah, so I work for a few different agencies that contract to different OEMs, so different
OEM is
manufacturers.
the manufacturer, right?
Yeah, that's definitely my 9 to 5 bread and butter
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But so I'm employed as a professional driver,
Right.
whether it be on the road or whether it be on the track.
Right.
And depending on the sort of it can be from anything from I do a lot of work for Honda, especially Honda and Acura in the past few years. Where I was with Acura at the beginning of the NSX program and the introduction to media and the global introduction to media and consumers right at the beginning of it. And as well Civic Si, and then more recently with Civic Type R.
Right.
So a lot of car companies feel like they need people that have a lot of racing experience, but also necessarily racing experience is not all they want. They want people that can
speak the
engage.
language.
Yeah, that can engage,
Well-
and that's more where the skill set comes.
And to sort of explain why the majority of these are like big parking lots at the local stadium that they're making some sort of autocross course to,
Right.
or some like fake terrain or something
Yep.
like that, or it's a local racetrack.
Yeah, it might be a
sometimes might be
racetrack or-
Willow Springs out in Southern
Exactly.
California or wherever.
Yeah.
But and then the people that are coming, they're either dealers and salesmen themselves, or sometimes they're media.
Could be general public.
Occasionally,
I mean,
sure.
Bit of everything.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of the time, if they've rented a facility somewhere,
Right.
it'll be media.
Yeah, if they paid
and then
money
it'll
for
be,
it, something
they'll
like
try
that,
and get as
it's-
many people through
Exactly
as
right.
possible.
Yeah.
But
And the idea is
if
for these people to drive the cars and have a professional tell them why this car is more awesomer than the other one.
But if you're generally, and this is a whole, even when I was living back in Europe, back in the UK, if you're a, like, in no uncertain term, if you're like a professional racing driver,
Yeah.
if you don't make enough money from just driving a racing car, this is what you're going to do. You're going to
Exactly.
work for a racing school, which is less prevalent now because there isn't really a racing school anymore. Obviously, Skippies.
There's a couple, but they're few and far
Yeah.
between. They already have their lifers.
Yeah. It's it's much more of a, but definitely the manufacturer-based industry is what you're going to do.
And those will be around forever, no matter electric cars or whatever. Because really what the job is you become what they call a product specialist. Yeah. And you have to learn literally interior trims by their factory name, what makes them better than the other car. Not only the other car, but you have to know the specs on the other cars.
Yeah.
So you can say, not only does this thing get this kind of gas mileage, it also gets this gas mileage compared to this car, and this car. Here's what they get, because that's the drivel that you need to spit out there so they leave and go, wow, the new this and this and this is amazing. And that's kind of the deal. And because of that, you get to meet so many people that know more than you.
It's a much more
about
involved.
everything.
It's a much more involved situation now. The amount of information that is provided to people now is so much higher than it ever has been.
Yeah.
It's so
because like you could be telling them like, oh, this Civic Type R does this, and they pull their phone out and they go, hang on.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I read that this guy said that, and you're like,
the information that they have now is so much higher than it ever has been. So you're never going to be probably more educated than the average person that shows up. Do I enjoy it? Yeah, it's better than sitting in a cubicle. It's all I've ever known, really. I mean, when I first started was working for Palmer Sport when I was racing in Formula Palmer Audi, and that was a traditional like motorsport experience. Which I would say shout out to Palmer Sport. It's still the best Palmersport.com.
Hashtag Palmer Sport.
Yeah. But definitely the best driving experience in the world.
Yeah.
You can look it up. It's super expensive.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that. But
that's
cool.
where I cut my teeth, and it wasn't really a super like OEM kind of basis thing, but it taught me how to be a hard in cars. And
love the R word. Jesus.
Sorry.
With the ride and drive thing, when I first started as a mechanic back in like 2001, Lally was doing a lot of these ride and drives, and he was kind of the first guy I interacted with on a regular basis. And he was telling me that like if you weren't racing, you were on a tour for one of these ride and drives, because they would, and they still do this, they would do a city by city tour for 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it is. But it's like you can't be like, hey, I'm going to do these three cities and then I'm going to bail and go racing. It's like, no, you have to sign up for the 8 cities.
Yeah.
But you go on the road for that 8-week trip. You don't spend a dime unless it's your own, like on booze or women or whatever. But your hotel's covered, your rental car's covered. You're getting paid every day that you're on the road, whether it's a working day or a travel day. You're still getting paid. And these guys would come home from that. They'd clear 30 or 40 grand back in the 90s through 2000s.
Absolutely.
And it was like the thing where you're like, yeah, this is great.
And
now I can
really
still go
living.
be a race car driver.
Yeah.
Right.
And then everybody got wise to like, we can pay less.
Yeah.
And so now I'd say the rates I've heard from back in the glory days, because any old school dude that did that stuff and you talk to him now, they go, yeah, kid, you don't know how it was. We used to get paid this, and we would drink every night. We would go crash 5 cars, and it was woo! And you're and you hear all the and you're like, wow, okay, cool. Well, I need you to pick that cone up, or whatever.
But the market's pretty saturated now.
But I'd say that the rate is half of what it used to be.
Yeah.
But that's still, like you said, way better than sitting in a cubicle. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the money's not bad.
It depends on what you do, and a
fun,
lot of it is based on who you're working with.
Exactly. I was going to say the fun comes from,
thing.
because like most of the guys you're doing this with, whether or not they race pro or not, they're car guys that understand that, and you kind of all get like it becomes you versus the clients on that particular day. You know what I mean? And the stories that come out of it, like somebody that's a complete hack.
Did you see that guy?
Exactly
It's that
right.
thing.
And it
Okay.
becomes
so
that.
they don't know they're the story.
Of course not.
Yeah.
But it's one of
And I
those things
assume
that becomes kind of the fun of it.
In the trenches camaraderie.
Exactly
is a
right.
fun experience.
Exactly right.
But you're signing 9-week contracts.
Yeah.
So
Well,
You're
not
making-
Not necessarily,
Not
not all of
always.
them,
Right.
but
It's-
sometimes.
It's
Sometimes.
I mean, it's like any job. Sometimes, in depending on the manufacturer, depending who you're working for, you know, what people are getting paid now, and what is required of people is like saying the pro driver moniker is far different
Yeah. It's a
to
very
what it
loose,
being a
previously
regular
used
term.
to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like being an
So-
ordained minister.
And which is
Like James Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
right, exactly. So which has led to there being a suppression in what that's paid for. But that's
Yeah.
what, and now everything's much more regional based and
Yeah.
Sure.
various other reasons.
Yeah.
But it's all good fun. You
But
know?
again, looking down your career, what, to use your boy Derek Walker's expression, what's the 5-year plan
what's the 5-year plan for
Yeah.
for
for yourself?
my
like,
career?
is the
For
event
Ryan
is the,
Lewis.
is the goal to keep trying to race? Are you then trying to get into management of Rive and Drive?
In my heart, the one thing that I really want to continue doing in my life is continue being involved in motorsport in some way, whatever that may be. If it leads me away from, coaching people and actively driving and chasing that side of it and working on the manufacturer side of things, then so be it. There's other things I may want to do. I'm trying to do other things in life, but I think I'm never going to want to go away from motor racing. Obviously, it'd be great, hit the Powerball or make some good real estate
And
decisions.
then go away from it.
Make some good real estate decisions, and then I can even if it's just like racing a vintage Formula 4. But I'm still not giving up on the whole if I got half a shot somewhere. But it's the same point. It's like there's too much of it for me that I'm like protecting my own ego.
Right.
Of I just never got
Okay.
I just never got.
Well,
the
see,
shot. I
that's
just never got the
always
shot.
that would always be my fear of the Arrive and Drive thing. Is that there's got to be a room full of that. And is that no?
Yeah. Oh no. Of course, I like to refer to it as Uncle Rico syndrome. Right.
That's true. That's fucking true. That
Yeah.
is so
That's it.
true.
Is that our first Napoleon Dynamite?
Really? Wow.
I think it
might
is.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a definite uncle, and there's so much of it.
Yeah.
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 But it goes back to the whole deal of if you look at the ability, driver ability, it's at the very top of people. If you gave even if you look, just for a complete ridiculous example, if you look at IMSA at the moment, like WeatherTech, GTD, anyone that's rated as a gold, if you put any of them in the same car, so if we go from the Ferrari, which is the GT3 BOP, like baseline, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you put any of them at Paul Ricard and you gave them 20 laps, they're going to be in the same.
They're going to hit the same times.
They're going to be in the same
reasonably, yeah.
In the window.
like fifth of a percentile.
Yeah.
Right? You might have occasion, and then you're going to have a couple. It's the same. You look at the data, right? You look at the data sheets. You look at the time. It's the same thing, and you'll see the same shit. And it's not about what you can bang in that lap time. If you went and did 100 laps, that might be a bit different.
Yeah,
and
might
then
get
with
a bigger
pitting, and then there's
percentage.
traffic.
Yeah.
And so much more of it is based on endurance. Endurance racing is about how they manage traffic,
Right,
and how
but
much time they lose.
Back to the Arrive and Drive part of it, though.
I mean, I think it's especially in endurance racing. I think that sometimes for fans, it's really hard to translate how hard that aspect of the racing is, especially in GTLM, when they're so low on power and they have to do such drastic things
Yes, to keep the pace up. Yeah.
in order to get through traffic,
Right.
because they don't have the power, especially in WeatherTech,
Yeah.
they don't have the power to get through the GT3 cars. And I think that is why you see people say, oh, these Porsche drivers, whatever, these GTLM drivers, they suck, they crash all the time. It's because they're
On the ragged
driving
edge.
the fucking things
Right.
like flat out constantly. And if you're driving for a GTLM manufacturer, it's like you better perform,
Right.
or you're
Right.
going to get the push.
Right. What was your point, though, for Arrive and Drive, as far as the talent pool? I'm missing something. You jumped. You totally
We
went
went
over.
Uncle Rico.
Right. Yeah, there's Uncle Rico's, and then we heard about GTLM drivers.
Sorry,
That's all right.
I forget.
I was like,
Have another one.
I'm off too.
Yeah, I don't know.
but I normally am.
I'm
So
like, I'm going to keep this on
Okay.
track. Cause
Right, but
so
it's,
the Uncle
but
Rico
it's-
syndrome.
But with
What?
the industry, there's less people that are like, oh, I'm a professional racing, and this is all I ever do. And
Right.
Right.
what is considered to be a professional professional driver now
Right.
is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
And so because
Back when
that sort
like
of-
Johnny and Brian Till
Yeah.
and Calvin.
Yeah.
So you're saying with that threshold lower, there's a lot less woulda coulda guys.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
So-
far
there's-
less people in the industry that like actually
That actually
race
right. So
cars.
there's a lot of guys showing up now.
No,
like,
there's
this is
more
the
Uncle
pinnacle.
Ricos, I think. Right?
not real Uncle Ricos though. There's always going to be Uncle Rico.
Yeah, for sure. Huh.
But
Okay.
like
Right, but
actual, like
in other
actual,
words,
like
like,
real
the-
Uncle
there
Rico.
are
No,
guys-
no. But like that's saying that Uncle Rico actually could have gone on, but he could.
More plausible Uncle Rico.
I would say
But because what I'm interpreting is that more people show up now, and because sort of the threshold for qualification is a little
Yeah.
bit lower, this is now the pinnacle of what they've done in their career. Not they won Petit Le Mans, they were
Right.
ex-champ car driver, whatever,
Right.
and now they're doing this, and so they
Oh,
feel as though,
yeah.
it's, in other words,
Nah.
like there's the miserable from feeling like you're almost demoted in where you're at, versus guys who are like this is as good as it gets, so they're happy.
Right.
Like it's a different mindset.
I mean, I think the only time you really see it now, and it's not and saying an Uncle Rico kind of situation is not fair, because it's guys that have had a lot of success in the past and now don't race professionally anymore.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
So I work fairly frequently, like Davy Jones,
Oh yeah.
Roberto Guerrero,
yeah.
Oh,
Like,
real. These guys are
legit.
fucking great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
super legit.
Right.
But I work with them. They're on the more senior side.
I was gonna say
of-
these are like good level of
Yeah.
ride and drive instructors because
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
worked
yeah.
with the lower level too, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
fucking disaster.
But this is what I mean. It's like the upper echelon, and
Yeah.
I wonder about
Yeah.
it sometimes.
No,
I'm
you're
like,
blessed.
Yeah.
I
Hashtag
mean, they get
blessed.
paid more than me, but yeah, hashtag blessed, exactly.
yeah.
They get paid more than me, but you run into that, a few times. There's like a bunch, but you run into in the industry. There's a bunch of guys that, but it's kind of one of those issues. You run into a bunch of guys that are like, you get in a car with them sometimes, and you're like, fuck, this dude can like
Yeah, yeah.
fucking wheel.
Could have done it. Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
If they had a bit more, if they had a bit more weight, and you find that quite often.
Mm-hmm.
With the customers or some of the other?
No, no,
co-
no, the other
instructors,
with,
yeah,
with
yeah.
other
No,
instructors.
all
like,
the customers are terrible.
no,
Yeah, I'm guessing.
they are awful.
What about okay? How many
Horrendous.
customers explain to you how the driving should be?
Oh, fairly frequently. They
depends.
say, no, you're just messing me up, or I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna.
The-
It's
the
very
mo-
interesting.
The
when I
most common
continue.
thing I get is people telling me things that are absolutely not happening at all.
Right.
Like, oh, you can really feel the grip level here, and you're like, we're at 24 miles an hour, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can't. No, you cannot.
I'm gonna go out there and drift it. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Sweet. Or like, I remember I was on the autocross course at Road Atlanta, which overlooks turn 6 and 7.
Right.
And there was a skid pad going on, and there was one guy there who had told everybody how great he was in the class, and all I can see from where I am is he's hanging the front end out.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
just
job.
full understeer,
Okay.
just
Yeah,
full
snap
like
understeer.
yes,
hanging that front end out.
hanging it
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Global Rallycross style.
And all I can hear from everybody around me, like all the students are like high fiving, like, yeah, that guy's killing it. He's killing it. And I'm like, cool. Noise equals
That
talent,
equals
apparently.
equals fast.
Yeah,
Opposite
they,
ignorance.
they were like, that guy's
Right.
got it. That guy's got it. Like, no, he doesn't.
Well,
not.
but so
Yeah.
again, in terms of just sort of career-wise, how every time there's a guy like that, how much does that just take the life out of you, or are you cool with that? I mean, one of the reasons I think I would struggle to be an arrive and drive guy is that, we even see this in the PR world a little bit when we do, say, a guest event at a pro motorsport event where they go on to tell you how fast somebody is in the corner, and you're just like, no, that's and like it's hit the points where guest events at racetracks are really difficult for me because I have to really feign interest, and over time it's just I'm having a hard time doing it.
Yeah.
It's got to be tenfold for what you're doing.
Generally, members of the public, you have to treat them as they're basically going to try and ruin your life.
Well, yeah, they're
as
trying to
soon as
kill
you
you,
engage
obviously.
them. And they're going to try
Yeah.
and kill you. So
Yeah.
anytime.
Was the question other?
It's not about the safety.
It's the Uncle Ricos that are burned out, right?
No,
That
no,
are
it's
upsetting
about
you?
no. Like
Oh,
a
the
guest event.
actual
I'm talking
guest.
about guests.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
you. It's like being a stage actor. You're trying to find the satisfaction to make today fresh, right? So at a guest event on the PR side, I try and really lock in with the person that's excited to be there because it's new and it's fighting, and
So-
I want to hang out with them because
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
So
Oh yeah. No.
the most important thing with any of it is about managing expectations.
Right.
So
My
if
whole
you-
career.
If
That's something I think of all the time.
More my dating life. Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
But as long as you manage their expectations, if they believe they're going to achieve something or do something different than what they're actually going to go and do,
Right.
if you kind of downgrade them a little bit on that, and if they do a little bit better than that, then
win.
it's
It's a
yeah.
win.
Sure.
So there's a bit of like mental chicanery involved in it for
I
sure.
think that's our first
That
mental
is the
chicanery.
best quote I've heard all.
Sure.
Hashtag mental chicanery.
That's the best quote. If you interviewed Bill Simpson, he'd tell you. Oh, I don't know.
No.
Oh, you should have interviewed Bill Simpson.
All right, we're gonna bleep that.
Yeah. Go on.
Oh, okay. I don't know, but yeah, there's an element of mental chicanery involved. Where are we going from?
Because to me, that's just like, oh, these cars are.
You
You've
just
never
tell
done
them there's
that?
something. But they will never, no matter what, especially if it's like a high performance car.
Right.
They will never drive the car correctly to how it is supposed to be driven.
Yeah.
So whether it's on the road or whether it's in a small autocross, you can tell them how to drive it. That's going to accentuate. So if you have them. Right, so I work for Chrysler doing like SRT events, right? So a Dodge Challenger SRT, it's not going to go around corners particularly well, right? But you can coach that person up to believing that that car is better in comparison to. I'm really f***ing myself in the industry here. Someone's going to hire me ever again.
Those people don't listen to this.
That's true. But you're gonna try and accentuate what's going to make them feel like they're a better driver.
Right.
Not necessarily
Yeah.
what the car is capable of doing.
Right.
So the car is capable of, it only goes this, the slip angle of the tire, it's only going to go this fast through the middle of the corner, out of a hairpin. What is a Dodge Challenger really good at doing? Getting the power down and going in a straight line.
Straight line. Yeah.
So you're going to focus on getting the car in a straight line and
Pinning it.
accelerate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to make the car seem really fast. So for me, that makes me valuable.
Okay.
Because
'cause you
I
get that.
understand that.
And how to coach that. line
However,
out.
at the moment in the industry, you're employing wankers that worked essentially as product specialists, and it's not their fault because they don't know any better, because they don't understand vehicle dynamics.
Right.
But you've got them sitting next to people, and that's what suppressed the industry as far as what people are getting paid.
Sure.
Yeah.
And people are crashing cars constantly. And
Okay, so we do a pass along question on the show. And last night we had dinner with none other than the legend of motorsports, Dorsey
Schroeder?
Schrader.
Thanks
His
for,
question.
Thanks for taking the time, by the way.
And then
What I
you
liked was like you
fucked
were
it
like
up at the end.
you were slowing it
I
down,
feel-
waiting for me to flip
I
through
feel,
it.
I feel privileged to even be in this, considering other people that have held this question. I feel very privileged.
Well, to be fair, you have used a higher vocabulary than 90% of our guests.
Yep.
Total.
You know, it's the funny thing.
Go
It
on.
doesn't require vocabulary. It drive a race car fast. So
That's
You know what?
funny
though?
that if it had, then
Like-
every fuckwit that had been to a British private school would be driving a racing car. But
I feel like this
That's
is
not
your
the
intro to
case.
the episode.
yeah. But sorry, I
Okay.
feel privileged all the same.
So when I was telling Dorsey about who you are,
Jesus Christ.
yes, exactly.
How did that go?
I might have made a joke that you were short. What's Ryan gonna do when he grows up?
Jesus.
that was a
You
short
tell me.
joke.
I think it was a short joke,
That
but
was a
also
short
like a
joke.
life joke.
Yeah. It's about life choices.
Short joke, life joke. If actually as a dream, if I could open because I think it's going to be a burgeoning industry.
Burgeoning.
Yeah, burgeoning industry in the United States is that people are going to move towards a neighborhood grocery store. So a chain of bodegas
I have one now.
would be, yeah, but there's not
Would-
everywhere does.
No,
Not everyone's
no,
not
okay.
everywhere's so woke as where you live. obviously.
I'm pretty woke.
That is
Half
true.
ATL.
Not everywhere. In the Midwest, people are not so
ATL.
woke.
Of
where
like the
there's
name of
food-
like a, as you would call it, like a green grocer or something like that.
Well, there's
Well, no,
there's
bodega's
a
a corner
situation
store,
of
yeah, like
there's
corner
a situation of like food deserts where there's
what?
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 food deserts
This just took a journey.
where people can't, they have no access to any kind of like fresh produce or any kind of food.
I'm sorry.
So-
Fresh what?
Fresh produce.
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 Wait,
Right,
so you're
I
saying
refuse to.
so you want to make
PROG.
so
UICE.
so give me your biggest.
I'm gonna sell them cigarettes and scratch tickets, but also at the same
Scratchy
time
lotteries. Scratchy
fresh
lotteries.
vegetables.
Okay, so
Organic or
for,
nah?
For the impoverished.
Hashtag organic or nah.
No, you honey dick them in with like the cheap produce, right? And then where you make the money is with these cigarettes, the booze, and the overpriced Monocle magazine.
Monocle magazine.
Yeah,
What?
that's where you make the money.
The Monocle magazine. Prince dead.
Whoa,
do you mean
whoa.
Prince?
Print
How
is
dare
dead.
you,
Prince?
sir?
Print.
Rest in peace, Prince.
Prince. Not print.
Print is only dead when people refuse to pay for it. Who reads Monocle online? No one.
I don't even know what Monocle is.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so you think, okay,
The
I'm just
only
muting
reason-
this. I'm just muting your channel. You know that.
So tomorrow we're going to have lunch with Craig Hampton. Formerly of Newman Haas Racing.
Yeah.
Multi-time IndyCar, Champ Car champion. Just all-around badass engineer. If you had any question that you would like to ask Craig Hampton, what would it be?
How much better is Mario than Michael? And is Mario a better driver than Michael? It's kind of a thing that Michael's been robbed of in his career, is being overshadowed by Mario.
On what was a great IndyCar career.
And and overshadowing exactly actually what he can achieve, because in Champ Car and IndyCar, Michael was
He was
pretty
my guy.
fucking good.
He was my guy.
Yeah.
Like really fucking good.
Yeah.
And I outside of his sojourn to
F1.
F1, he was pretty fucking good in IndyCar.
Yeah. So we've been here a while.
Yeah.
How drunk
We
are
have.
you? How drunk are you right now?
Yeah. How drunk are you?
Me? I'm
Yeah.
alright. I'm like midway.
Like, if we didn't have to go to Chicago, I'd just keep going with you all night.
Are
Is
we
that-
driving to Chicago right now?
Well,
We're going.
You wanna
Well,
come?
I'm
You wanna
driving to
go?
Chicago.
You wanna
Ryan's
go?
going to be in the passenger seat.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're responsible.
Sean's driving.
I think I'm going to
Yeah.
drive you home too. Ryan, how drunk are you right now?
Which one? Me or him?
Hey, Eversley.
Eversley feels
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Go for Lewis.
Lewis.
No, I'm like about 60%.
So you're 60. Okay.
Yeah, we can get.
So you know who hasn't had a drink yet? Poor Dario. Who's sitting
Dario
in the car
has
right
been
Dario
in the car
has
this
not had a
whole
drink
time.
yet?
now? Yeah,
and he's
sitting
in the car.
Just wait. Well, he's driving.
Waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting this whole time.
So we should get back to him.
We probably should.
Sweet
So
Jesus.
let's pay this check.
With that, Ryan Lewis,
Yes, sir.
Continental Tire, has got the check.
I'm finished.
Yep. I don't know what that was. I hope you enjoyed it at least. Anyway, here is Nine Finger with Fade Away.